Prophet of God by Chris Cooper, Chapter 9. Lynn sat at the end of Valerie's bed. The ambient coo of her air humidifier buzzed in the background as the two exchanged banter. Valerie had a small flat-screen TV on a modern stand which had flipped on by itself. It had no other reception except a rerunning of a church-based streaming service, mostly with promotional videos centering around the fellowship's extensive overseas mission presence in charitable operations, and, of course, a plethora of sermons led by a handful of notable church officials and Pastor Lee. We, able to turn that off or down a sec, Val? Lint looked up from his phone screen. Sorry, I just wanted to show you this one I downloaded. It's pretty fucking funny. Valerie squirmed a little against the comforter of her bed. Yeah, no, I can't really. What you mean? I can't, turn it off. It's automatic. Valerie flipped a strand of her hair to the side. Lynch shook with a chuckle. What? What, for real? Valerie sighed. Brandon, sup? Would you ever... There was a few seconds before Lint glanced up from the glow of his screen. It's been a really long day, Valerie scooted closer to him. I don't know, usually around this time is when I get around and get cleaned up for the night, you know? Oh, shit, yeah, no, my bad. I definitely can head out. The guys... Valerie put her hand on Lint's chest and said, I don't want you to go. Lint's breathing escalated. Valerie abruptly got up after letting out another sigh and started toward her bathroom across the plush carpeting, seizing her hair from behind her neck. Lint just sat motionless on her bed, twisting his neck, and his phone began to tremble in his hand. Inside the bathroom, under the bright white lights, Valerie stood shirtless, pleading with the air. Can you just... She gritted between her teeth. You gonna come in, or... Yeah. Lint was already in a cold sweat. Valerie turned on her shower, anticipating Lint's dawdling in. She tore off her pants and folded one of her arms against her chest. Only a red silicone band dangled from one of her wrists. Lint's face relaxed upon entering the white space. His eyes fell against Valerie at the other end, and he quickly turned his head. Sorry. No, it's okay, Valerie said. I'm sorry to be so... She drifted. No, it's okay, Lint said, shaking his head, his eyes climbing up again. I just, want you really bad. I've been a naughty girl. Lint stood there, and her sudden monotone smacked his face into confusion. I want you so bad, she choked, before bending over to drag her panties to the floor, letting her breasts free. She turned mechanically and dipped into the steaming water. What the f... Lint whispered to himself. Still fully clothed, he shrugged and began undoing his pants. Damn, girl, he said under his breath. The two of them stood at opposite ends of the shower, naked as the day is light, staring at one another's expressionless faces. Valerie had left the shower curtain wide open behind her, and Lint noticed it and began to shut it. Wait, no, she stopped him. What? I like the curtain open? It feels more natural. Lint contorted his face. Meanwhile, the shower water splattered all across the ceramic tiles below. You sure? Yeah. You gonna Wash your hair or something? Lint gulped, using every muscle in his face to hold his eyes at horizon level. No, I want you to wash me, baby, Valerie squeaked. Lint cocked his head with a smirk. Oh, okay. He grabbed the closest bottle of shampoo, popped the cap, and dumped about half of it into his palm, and then stepped toward Valerie, who'd positioned herself almost dead center of the shower, quivering something fierce. You want me to... Lint held up his hands, covered in suds. Yes, Daddy, she affirmed, a bit of a pinch in her voice. Lint proceeded to slowly dab Valerie's hair with the shampoo, and she leaned in closer. He looked her in the eyes as he stood blocking the pelts of water. You okay? He asked her. Valerie just kept jerking her eyes to the right, and then looking into his again. Black eyeliner smudged across her cheekbones, and the lines of mascara began bleeding down her cheeks. What, you got something in your eye? Lint said. Yes, harder, Daddy, fuck. Lint couldn't help himself, he just laughed. That's it, kiss me, Daddy, kiss my neck, please. Oh, okay, damn girl. Lint obliged, and as he drove his lips into her neck, passing her face, he heard something from between her gritted teeth, very faintly. Look into the fucking mirror. Lint rested his lips against her skin as the hot water pelted the back of his head for a moment, making sure he'd heard what he thought he heard. He slowly lifted his head, turned, and looked into the mirror, which had totally fogged over by now. Broad capital letters appeared etched across it, as if scribbled by hand, reading, "Call police, please help." I guess we'll do chapter 10 too. That one was short. Chapter 10, Prophet of God by Chris Cooper. Jin led the guys along a beaten trail in the thick of some dark woods. Jesse and Trevin had since given up making sense of it all and had found themselves aimlessly following this enchanting stranger. There seemed to follow amongst the three a displaced ambient light that the eye couldn't pinpoint, being neither from the moon nor the sky, just kind of everywhere, allowing them to get enough of an idea of their surroundings to walk. Trevin and Jesse remained close to one another, at times brushing fingers as they labored to avoid broken limbs of trees all over the ground. They stayed trailing behind their mysterious friend, Jin, who stuck a few feet ahead, taking the occasion to whistle and twist around, skipping along sporadically as if unable to be still for long, and smoking like a dragon the whole way. Whoa! Trevin came to a stop and arched his neck to face up to the sky after some limbs gave way above the group. Above, the full majesty of the galaxy was laid bare across a drape of abysmal blackness and mind-stealing blue, framed by the jagged limbs of the pines. What was more was that there were dancing stripes of gentle colors of green and pink, of an aurora appearing to be cast to and fro by a silent celestial wind. You've not seen this before? Jin asked. No, I've not so clear before, Trevin confessed. Jesse copied his friend, looking straight up, soaking it all in too. Sometimes it does take the yielding of the darkness to appreciate the light, doesn't it? Jin responded. Wait, where are we going? Jesse asked. Jin finally stopped and held a foot upon a bank, leaving Jesse's questions just hanging in the air. The level of the earth below swept abruptly upward, as if pushed, and they took a glance below, lighting another cigar. Jin motioned for the guys to come up to their position and presented the foreground that lay ahead. Over the lip of the earth, there opened up a deep crevice whose foundation was damp and mossy. Cracked tree limbs lie all around, and the entire area was semicircular with bare tree roots climbing up various parts of the edge. Round the depression of the earth, they observed what looked like tiny lights of an ethereal blue color. They appeared in bunches like little grapes, covering the landscape across the floor and in crags and corners otherwise darkened. Along the rim of the Great Depression, every half dozen feet, large splinters of jagged rock shot up into the air, as if to make a ring of teeth or maybe soldiers standing guard. "What is this place?" Jesse wondered out loud. Trevin had knelt down when he managed to spot a tiny cluster of the blue lights close by. On examining them, he came to realize they were tiny mushroom heads with their skin almost transparent. Trevin went on to reach out for one with his fingers. "Don't," Jin ordered without so much as turning around. "What are they?" asked Trevin. "There's a story. You may have heard of it. It's called Exodus in your books," Jin began. "Yeah, like Moses and shit," Jesse said. "Yeah, like Moses and shit," Jin rolled their eyes. "While the Israelites were wandering through the wilderness, so the story goes, God kept them going by giving them water and food. There wasn't anything in the desert or enough to keep that many people alive anyway, so every morning the wanderers woke up, the ground would be covered in, bread. They called it by the name manna." Yeah, I get it," Jesse confirmed. "So this stuff is manna or whatever?" Jin sighed. "I'm saying that's what the church calls it." "Who?" "The church. They call it manna," Jin explained. "Yeah, but they're mushrooms?" questioned Trevin. Jin laughed, striking a hand against their stomach. "Yeah, don't eat it. This ain't the shit you put on pizza." "I mean, I wasn't planning on it, but why not?" shrugged Jesse. "What is up with you monkeys and eating what you're not supposed to? This isn't exactly the same stuff as manna. It's the stuff that was in the tree, if that still works." Jin immediately captured the guy's perplexity. "You know, the tree, remember? Does that one still work, or have we moved on?" You mean the Garden of Eden thing?" chimed Trevin. Jin snapped their fingers, causing a clanking noise amongst all their jewelry. "Yes, that one. Tree of the knowledge of good and evil, in Eden, way back. This stuff is what that fruit was made of. Or, it wasn't really fruit, we just didn't have a word for it, so..." "Yeah, but wasn't Eden in the Middle East or something?" Trevin asked. "Paradise is anywhere. Hang on. Shh." Jin hushed the two, grabbing each one by the shoulder, bringing them low. Jesse whispered under Jin's arm, "Bro, not gonna lie, the fuck is that smell?" "It's a new line, it's called Brimstone," said Jin. Across the way, they all observed, over the opposite ridge of the depression, another figure could be spotted inching closer. They had on a dark hoodie, their mouth looked covered, and light skin shone against the dim light permeating up from the ground below. The group watched as the stranger set aside what looked like a bag. Sliding it onto the ground from across their back, they wielded some kind of utensil and began methodically pruning away bits of cluster of the bizarre blue mushroom. "Who is that?" Trevin whispered beneath Jin's arm. "It's one of the scouts, Trev. I'm sorry," said Jin. "Can you just, make us invisible or something? I mean, fuck it," Jesse snorted. "We don't work like that," Jin dismissed. "What's he doing?" asked Trevin. He's harvesting, said Jin. They've been using this stuff. After a few moments, the stranger ahead folded their baggage up and started walking away in the opposite direction. You're telling me the church is getting high on fucking evil biblical shrooms? Is that what's going on? Jesse giggled, listening to his own words. Listen, Jin spat. This stuff's been going down for a while. Don't eat these things. This is the concentrate, like raw. When someone eats it, this literally splits the river. Look at what happened already. Where's he taking it? Trevin asked. To dilute it. Dilute it? Jin turned to him. Yeah, knowledge usually requires a lot of diluting. How come we've never seen this place before? I mean, we're like back on Earth, right? Near Luke's. It'd be kind of hard to miss this, Jesse asked. Things only appear as you're prepared to see them, said Jin. Always remember that. Yeah, we never left where we, quote, were, or come to think of it, where we ever are. We just peel back the layers is all. Uh-huh, Jesse shook his head. This place goes way back, Jin offered. So what does this stuff do exactly? Trevin asked. What do you mean? Jin said. Like, does it get you like mega high? Jin sat on the words for a moment. It opens up what is closed. They finally spoke up. Okay. Okay. You've got an orange, yeah? Jin held out their own palms. Yeah? Your entire view, everything you have seen, are seeing, or will ever see in your whole earthly life is just a fucking pore on this orange. Jin seemed shocked themselves as an actual orange materialized, resting between their hands all of a sudden. Whoa, Trevin gawked. Jin stuffed their cigar between their teeth and continued. I'm surprised that actually went through. Anyway, eating this stuff, these mushrooms, or as they appear to your eyes, is like peeling this entire thing open at once. Does that make sense? Jin handed the orange to Jesse. He flinched when he took a hold of the fruit as it was confusingly heavy and began collapsing like sand, like a ball of sand would, seeping from between his fingers onto the ground. The fuck? Jesse jumped back. The mana, this shit, mimics death. It lifts the veil or thins it, and so reveals things that normally your little monkey brains aren't built to see, or rather are ready to see. In a sense, you realize you're, quote, naked, for example, continued Jin. I mean, you're talking to me currently, and you're in your here and now, which is really weird. So, Jesse and Trevin bounced jarred glances between each other. Oh, trust me, this is fucking weird for me as it is for y'all. Wait, Jesse brushed the air. You're telling me we're high on shrooms right now? Jin shrugged. I'd reckon the effect of this stuff in small doses would have on your kind would be quite the high, yes. You're being drawn away like too much too soon, if that makes any sense. You're floating in your tube on too fast of a current? How? I haven't taken anything. Not since being here. You, Trev? I don't remember the last time I hit anything strong, Jesse said. The church doesn't offer drugs. Sun essence, whispered Trevin. Jin shrugged, nodding. Trevin shot up a glance at them. Yeah, but even so, wouldn't that have worn off? Jin looked at them both, fixing the cigar in their own mouth and putting up air quotes once again. They said, Did you guys, take communion yesterday?